Hello everyone, welcome back. Okay, so last August, I just checked, the 5th of August I think it was, I got this tree from just a grocery store, Tesco's I think it was, and it was growing in a little tiny blue pot like that, and all these roots, it was just kind of standing like that on all the roots. If you go back to August, if you want to have a look at it, last year you'll see it when I got it. They get these trees in and they sell them in these shopping centres and stuff and supermarkets, but they tend to just get them in, put them up for sale and then forget about them, and they don't get watered enough and they end up 90% of the time dying, I would say, because most time I go then they're already practically dead. So I kind of rescued this one, but as you can see it had terrible roots. Like I said, it was in a little pot. This might have been the pot. It was in a little pot like this, and it was just kind of all the roots, these roots were just standing like that, and then the tree was up on the top. So I think most of the trees were practically dead there, so that's why I bought this one. I have a tendency to rescue these trees if I see them still alive and they're to give them a chance. So because of the roots the way they were, I just did a video and showed how I treat trees like that. Put them over rocks like this because there was nothing really I could have done with the roots. They were so long and so bad. You literally have to chop it right back and try and plant it as a cutting. But if you put them over rocks and things, or statues, I do a lot of them, it helps to make the tree look like it's. The reason why the roots are like that is because it was growing over this rock. So I don't think I did any work to this since. I might just give it a quick once over roughly to get rid of some of the longer branches, but than that I've kind of left it grow for the year. So now I'm just going to go in and give it a bit of a tidy up. You can see it's growing pretty good now, plenty of vigour. Next year I'll be putting it into a better pot. This is just a kind of a big pot I need to put it into because of the rock, but I'll put it into a smaller, more shallower pot, so you see more of the rock. So I want to see if I can give a little bit of style into the tree, preferably not wiring it if I can help it. If I have to put a bit of wire on here and there I will, but if I don't have to, if I can do it by clip and grow, I'll do it by clip and grow. They grow quick enough. So let's get into it and see how we get on. So what I want to basically do is, you can see it's kind of a big mass at the moment. I want to try and see if I can create some sort of pads with it. So just creating, not entirely sure, this is probably going to be the front. The roots are a little bit more interesting. I had this root with a very tiny root coming off it, and I planted it down into the soil and I put sphagnum moss over it, and it's thickened up now, and because it's going straight down it should thicken up quite well. I'm taking the sphagnum moss off now, so it'll harden up and hopefully it'll start thickening up. So we'll go in and we'll see, can we somehow create some pads, or the starter pads anyway. Kind of prune it a bit bigger than I need to at the start. If I need to take more off, then I will, but just to get the start going, we'll get rid of these ones coming down here, coming out to the trunk, get rid of them. This first initial pruning is always kind of hardest because you want to kind of decide on what you want to keep, what you don't, but once you have this kind of part done, then you've got a plan, so the rest then can be just keep working on keeping the pads growing the way you want them. Let's see if I can move around a little bit so you're kind of looking more at the front. So we've got one little pad down here started, Got another one now kind of started here. Basically all I'm doing is taking out anything that's growing up, take that out, and just pruning the longer branches back to a branch in a leaf growing in the direction you want your next branch to grow, so that you can create another pad. Okay, so that's kind of, we've got a second pad there roughly done. Let's go around the back here. We'll take these ones back a bit. Like I said, it's the kind of trickiest part, this at the start of the tree, when you're trying to just start the pads off. Once they're set and they're growing, then it's simple enough. It's just a matter of keep pruning them, keep them growing where you want them. Okay. This branch kind of growing over the top here, but I do need an apex on it kind of to fill out the top, so I might leave this one. It's kind of just curling back a little bit. Like I say, I'll probably leave more than I need on this pruning, and then as it develops we can decide and take more off if we want to. This one here, we'll just take that back to there for now. That's growing in the wrong position altogether. Okay, let's have a look at this side now. Not sure about this one at the front yet. I think she might be going. So I didn't get any videos out yesterday or the day before. Well, I did think I did put on out the day before, but that was made the day before that, because I spent the last 2 evenings just dewiring trees, so I didn't bother making videos of that. Just got my pliers out and my little table, and I just sat and dewired for the evening. I think it's the best way of doing it. Just decide to dedicate an evening or two to just dewiring Get rid of all the wires off all the trees that are biting in. I like to take the wires off and then leave them rest for a while before I rewire them, but the ones I took them off last night, to be honest, I'm hoping I don't actually need to rewire them. They seem to have set pretty good, so I'm hoping now I can just prune them now. They were junipers, so they may need wiring again at some stage, but we'll leave them kind of rest for a while now, let them kind of repair themselves for any scarring and stuff. Okay, so it's starting to get somewhere. It's starting to look a little bit more tree-like now. This is the very first kind of proper pruning of the branches as such. I can't remember, did I take any off at the start? Probably didn't. Just creating gaps so that the spaces between the branches, that's what helps miniaturize it and make it look a little bit more tree-like. But as you see now, it's starting to look pretty good. Could possibly, when I repot it, be planted more like that, just to tilt the rock slightly more, so it's more kind of in that, like that. But for now, that looks pretty okay for first pruning. Like I said, it's got a long way to go. There'll be a lot of pruning to come, and we can get rid of branches as we need to as time goes on. But this is just to kind of get it started in the right direction, which I think that is. I'll just show you one that I did a few years ago, just so you can see how they turn out after a while. Because this one's obviously a few years older, but you can see now, once you've done the initial styling like that, it's just a matter of pruning it up, then keeping it in shape, and you don't really have to do any wiring to them then. Just clip and grow will keep them kind of in shape. This is one had a horrible roots on it as well. They're kind of twisted, so I kind of put them around the edge of this rock. This needs repotting as well next year. Let's fill this pot with roots, I'd say. But the rock kind of goes over here more. You can't actually see all the rock. You see it comes down here and into there, the rock. So it is planted kind of on the side of the rock, this one. But if you watch my channel, you'll see I've done quite a few Chinese elms over statues and rocks and stuff. But this is how you can get them to fill out in a very short time, to be honest. I mean, that one was put in that a year ago, and it's already starting to take shape now. And by next year, that will be pretty full like this one. Won't be as big as this one, obviously, but it'll be catching up on it in no time. Okay, so let's get another tree in. Okay, so we'll just stick to the Chinese elm theme, since I do have a bunch of them that need pruning, so we may as well just stick to Chinese elms for today. This one needs a little bit of weeding, but we'll just get on with the pruning. Now this one, it was an air layer off the top of one of these twisty ones that you get, which I don't like. It's got some good old bark on it and stuff, and then I chopped off the top again, leaving one basically branch not much bigger than that coming off the side, and slowly but surely then just develop this again in quite short length of time. So again, we'll just go in now. This one's had no wire on it. I've just kind of clip and grew it, and it's grown pretty quickly. And you can go into real detail pruning of the branches and stuff in the autumn when it's lost its leaves, if they lose the leaves, depending on your weather. Last year most of mine, was I think 2 lost their leaves. They're out all winter, but the rest of them all kept the leaves for the whole winter. They actually kind of kept growing slightly all winter, so the winter was quite mild. You can bring them indoors, but I just leave it. I have too many, so I have to leave them outside. But to be honest, they seem to like being left out. They get much tighter foliage, smaller leaves. Start bringing them in, you end up getting much kind of bigger, looser kind of foliage. Keep them pruned and out in the sun, they seem to do, and the wind and the rain and all that, they seem to do a lot better. Again, not being fussy with this, this is just a matter of basically hedge pruning it to keep it from sending out big long shoots like this one. If I left that grow, it'll just keep getting bigger and bigger and thicker, and then I have to come back and chop it right off. I'd rather chop it off when it's smaller, thinner, so you don't end up with big fat branches out on the edge. Like that, it's a nice little tree. Just been basically grown from a cutting off a cutting. But it's turned out quite nice. But that's all I'm going to do to it, just a quick pruning like that. So we'll grab another one, and we'll bring that one in. We'll just do a bunch of them, get them done, because I like to try and keep on top of them. I'll bring one in now and you'll see the difference when you leave them. Okay, so this one I repotted, changed the angle of it. It was one that I took an air layer off the top of. Could have been that last one, I'm not too sure. Took a layer off a lot of mine. You can see it's one of these S ones, but it was a real bad S. So, and I think, I can't remember what way it was, but I seem to remember it was kind of at a funny angle like that, I think it was. And I just stood it up, tilted it back, just to give it a bit more of an upright kind of a look. But again, it's still got that bit of a S, not as bad as it was. Kind of tried to hide it a little bit, but it's still there. We may end up air layering a tree off the top of this again at some stage, but again, you can see how long they get when you just leave them. And see now why I'm going to be chopping that back to there. So now I've got a big fat branch right out to the edge of the foliage. That's one cut, which is not what I like. That's why I kind of keep on top of the pruning of them. But I think this one will end up being air layered. I was just, after I air layered the top off it, kind of looked a bit silly. It was kind of, I'd have to go back and look at it, but I seem to remember it was kind of lying down or something, and this just stood it up. Repotted it just to kind of change the angle a bit. This branch here, I don't know if I would need that, but if I do lay this off somewhere, this may end up being a tree. So I'm going to leave it for now until I've decided what I'm going to do. I will just chop them back a bit. Just turn to it, doesn't want to stay. So I'll just go in quickly, chopping it back. And I'm sure you'll see this tree again at some stage. Getting a nail here. It's kind of hard to see where I could layer this off. Maybe even just this one here. I lay that top off and then I lay this off as well. So you have a little tree there, build something out of this one and then build a tree out of this one. But we'll see. Now I'll just try and keep it some way under control so we don't get all load of these big thick heavy branches. So once they start going, they just keep going. Yeah, it doesn't look too bad. It's not as horrible as some of the real S's like that. It's kind of just got a bit of a wiggle to it here. Yeah, we'll have to see. Maybe if I grew up this pad out, filled it out and filled in here more, it would hide it, maybe it wouldn't look as bad then. But it's definitely not as bad as some of them, and definitely not as bad as it was when I got it. You can see there where the top one was there laid off. In there, practically healed up now. I'm trying to remember what way it was when I repotted it, because I do know I had to stand it up. Anyway, okay, we'll put it out, we'll grab another one. Okay, so this is the next one, and probably the last one I'll do today. Again, if you're watching my videos, you might have seen me repotting this one, I repotted this one earlier this year. And I've just left it since then because this is just a rock pot that I made out of polystyrene and cement. Let me just put it onto a higher stand. Okay, yeah, so this is just a rock pot that I made with the polystyrene again. It's nice and light. Just covered it in cement and that. And again, this was one that I laid the top off of an S shape. There's the the original wound in there, if you can see it. But yeah, so I repot it back into the same pot, and then it kind of struggled for a while. There was one of two that struggled, this one and the one I have over the samurai. The two of them really struggled after the repot, but I just left it, and you can see it's growing quite well now. It's recovered, so I'm just going to give it a little bit of a pruning back. It's actually spread a lot more since I repot it. It seems to have spread out quite a lot. As you can see, it's got quite small leaves, this one. I'd say it doesn't get as much water as the others because of the pot, so that probably is an indication why it's slightly more yellow leaves and smaller leaves maybe. What I'm going to do is again just try and create some gaps in it, just to let some light in between the branches where they're kind of crossing into each other. The same with here, we'll take off some of these higher ones and some of the lower ones on these so that we have gaps there too. So if we can create a gap between here and here. Take that one out. And you got a funny apex, very flat on the top because the air layer is on the top, so it's kind of, these are all spreading out the branches, but it's a bit different, something a bit different, so I don't mind it. I could wire a branch up, but I'm not going to. I'm going to kind of let it do its thing. Not every tree has to look the same. There's Buddy. Next door's dogs come out to say hello. Okay. So that's kind of created gaps, and if you can see it, you see on the top now there's space, light getting in. Like I said, it's a bit of an unusual one, the way it's growing. That's why I kind of built the pot for it. I kind of built the pot to match the tree, just to kind of have it so it's like leaning over the cliff a bit. Yeah, but like all the others, we'll just keep going on it. The joy of these guys is, if you see something that you don't like, if something branches in the right place, you can just chop it off without any problems. It'll grow back. If you feel, oh, I shouldn't have done that, you can pretty quickly grow one back in its place. can sit out between these two as well. Okay, so I think we'll leave it at that. Been going on a bit down this video, so yeah, we'll leave it at that. Like I said, this guy, the first one, won't take long till it's caught up with these to catch up very quick, and it'll look quite well when I take it out of that pot, put it into a more shallow pot. Like I said, maybe turn the rock slightly so the tree is kind of more level. Yeah, so that'll start looking well when that's done. Put a bit of moss on the rock and stuff just to give it a bit of life. So yeah, so we'll call that one done. So as always guys, don't forget to like and subscribe, and share the videos if you think you know someone who would like to see them. And you see, I could put a bit of wire on that, bring it down, but we won't. But thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.